The landscape of childhood has changed.
Time and space are all being redefined.
This is a very large experiment that we're enacting as a society. We don't understand what the consequences are.
Startling new research reveals how too much time in front of the screen can actually lead to long-term health effects.
Video games have mind-blowing capabilities that can literally transport you into an alternate world.
Tweens and teens now spend over 7.5 hours every day watching or listening to media.
What are you missing when you are looking at screens?
Before now, like, my relationship to screens it was like pretty much, I'd say, my life. I had nothing better to do. My main goal after school, like, get my homework done so I can play games. That was pretty much the goal of every day.
When I first got to Portland, I really didn't like school. I would go home, I would start the Xbox up, and I would, like, just totally, like, play for 4 hours, and I would, like, focus entirely on setting up the strategy, setting up the game the way I wanted. Like, I would tune everything else out, and it kind of served as a coping mechanism.
Remember that name, Dale, nigga!
Probably during the day, I send about like 300, 400, 500 text messages. But during school, only about 100. And then when I get home, maybe 200, but I don't really text in school anymore. After I got caught. The picture of myself without my phone would be depressing. Feel lonely. Yep.
Maximum power.
I love video games. As soon as I think about it, it's like immediately, I must get my video games. Video games is more entertaining than playing outside for me because when I play video games, I'm like in my own little world. I control what's happening. It depends on what my mood is. If I'm like in a bad mood, I'll just stay on the computer as long as possible. And then after I'm done with the computer, I'll move on to the TV.
You want to be on top?
I think I use screens probably majority of my day. Maybe I'm off 2 or 3 hours a day, probably either sleeping or at the park or something, but that's not very, common. It's pretty rare.
It's basically the same thing for me, and even when I'm with my friends, it's like we just do the same thing for like on the computer, or unless we go to the park or something, and even then we're like on our cell phones or something.
Yeah.
It was like a drug. It was addicting, and it was good, but I didn't have the knowledge to know that it was kind of actually destroying me from the inside. I guess I was more of on the point of like, just, what's the point of life? There's no point in this. I had no great ambitions, because like now I want to be a Navy SEAL, and I made that decision about less than a year ago, actually. I looked up to a lot of people in games. Like, there's a lot of fictional characters that I really like soldiers, like, I don't know, like Solid Snake. He was like the best soldier ever. And I really wanted to be like him.
Sounds like the perfect job for me.
Snake, I'm counting on you.
All right, died like 5 times. That's like 50. Hey. Oh. That's why I don't like to die.
Current game that I play the most, I play it, one, because it's a real-time strategy. I like it because everything's kind of fair within the context of understanding. It's a game that rewards intelligent play. I come in with that attitude, and I'm successful. I'm very successful. I play that very well. The other reason I play is I play for the people. I can talk to anyone at like any time. You can meet some like pretty like cool, calm, like nice to be around people like online. I feel much more well-spoken, like, and like a lot more like organized in how I think and like present to other people because of the time I've spent gaming.
Those are all my top friends, the people I mainly talk to every day. MySpace is like my other family. Like, you can just sit there and talk to anybody you want. Sometimes it's kind of nice to talk to somebody and learn about their personality before you talk to them in person. Because in person, it might take you for something different.
I don't really agree that our generation is disconnected because a lot of the time it's connecting with other people. You're on it when you can't go anywhere. When you can't like go rock climbing or do something fun.
Yeah.
That's when you're playing like video games or something, when you don't want to be bored.
It's not going to be Survivor, man. Those guys put themselves through way too much pain. You always get to make your own decisions and choices. And there are certain agreements, though, that it would be great that we can make. My one boundary is no one dies and no wounds that don't heal within 4 days. Why are you here, Paige?
I'm here because this camp sounded exciting.
My name's Chris. I'm here because there's no reason I could think of not to be.
I'm Taylor, and I'm here because my mom told me that I don't really go outside anymore because I'm on my phone.
I really wanted to go to this camp because my mom told me about it and I thought it sounded fun.
It's really random, but I was just talking to Paige about this, but where are we going to go to the bathroom? Just like out in the wild?
That's a great question.
We're hardwired to need nature. We like species other than our own. We like to see natural landscapes. We don't do so well when we don't have that kind of experience. There is risk by not allowing kids to go outside. There's a risk in raising a generation of kids and future generations under virtual house arrest, a risk to their health, to their physical and psychological health. Physicians today, many of them pediatricians, are saying that the current generation may be the first to die earlier than their own parents. Now that's a real risk.
Children these days are more and more disconnected from their sense of place and their sense of community. I've never seen children with as much knowledge as they have right now. I call it ear-to-ear brilliance. At the same time, I see more and more children, because of parents' fear and because of the risk society has put on so many activities such as the bike ride to nowhere, building a treehouse, who don't have those experiences. And my concern is those experiences build confidence. They give a sense of worth and responsibility.
Children, especially young children, are concrete learners. They learn best from touching, doing, feeling, controlling, mastering. What's happening now is more and more of their experience is virtual. So the basic, most fundamental foundation that they need for all later development gets undermined. I really do worry about producing a world of robots and a world of people disconnected from life and nature and the world. And it's going to have a profound impact on who we are and what we become.
I don't really miss my phone, actually. It's kind of fun being out here. It's just nice to talk to somebody in person, to where if you have a problem with them, you don't have to hang up the phone on them or something. You can just front up to them and tell them you have a problem with them. Because I kind of get sick and tired of fighting over through the phone or texting or something like that. But I don't think there's going to be any fighting, so it'll be good.
This stuff good for anything?
That's the sphagnum moss.
I'm loading my pockets full of toilet paper.
Grab a stave from here, I tap, and that's gonna dig down just a little bit. And then I turn my knife out like that.
I fell in the river when I was trying to get water, and then after that I was like really soggy and wet and it was just really uncomfortable, so I got really homesick. I'm like, oh, I wish I could be home because then I could go and take a shower and put dry clothes on, but here, I have a limited supply of what I can wear and stuff, so, I was like,
When you're outside, it's so much more realistic. Like in Call of Duty 3, that's one game that I play. And if you shoot a bow or anything, you'll mostly hit, but if you shoot a bow in reality, you'll mostly miss, unless you have a really good aim. And like video games, you can't sleep outside.
Yeah! Super thick. The edge might not because it's thin. It's a great fire. Chris, man.
I like what we've been doing, but it's exhausting. Some physical effort, which, it's fine, but it's like, makes you feel totally like out of it after it all. And then there's these bugs, these damn white bugs. If I had like just a nice can of like spray on like Annihilation, this would be perfect. Just spray it into the air, kill all of them.
The brain is a very sensitive organ. From moment to moment, every sensory stimulus triggers a cascade of neurochemical and electrical events. When we spend time in a repeated mental task, we think that the neural circuits that control that task, in a sense, become strengthened. And we find that we have an addiction, a technology addiction, that's very similar to an eating addiction, a drinking addiction, a drug addiction, anything like that. Now, a young brain is particularly sensitive to whatever we expose it to, whether it's technology or nature.
Computers, smartphones, television, 24-hour media access has changed the way young people entertain themselves.
According to the Kaiser Family Foundation, 8 to 18-year-olds spend an average of 7 hours and 30 minutes each day, either online, watching TV, playing video games, texting.
Now, with so many media platforms to choose from now, there are more opportunities for media multitasking. That means kids are packing a total of almost 11 hours worth of media content into those 7.5 hours a day.
The researchers found that kids do cut back when parents make rules.
And there's another parental influence to consider, their example. A separate study by the Nielsen Company found that adults in their early 40s spent even more time watching online videos than teens do.
The influence of the media and the influence of the virtual world, while in and of itself may not be bad, when that becomes the framework through which kids are experiencing life, and then the expectation that that's the norm and everything else should fit that norm, I think that is where the problem lies.
Right now in the United States, we have about 5 million people that are playing computer games 45 hours a week. That is very much a substitution for real life. Those are 45 hours they don't have to spend at work, at school, with real people.
I just feel like way more comfortable. Like everybody's just like chill and like you don't have to worry about looking your best.
No, you're holding it under, hold it on top.
I know, I'm just getting it. You kind of have to start thinking about your inner beauty, because I know before I was, you know, I had mirrors to check myself and make sure I looked okay, and then I was like, okay, well, I look pretty today, so I'll be, you know, a little bit more confident. That's the kind of thing that me and Paige kind of struggle with at home, making sure that we look like, you know, okay, because we don't want to like, you know, kind of get what I'm saying, like we like. It's hard to explain. Just here, you just have a chance to have conversations with people, and you know they're not going to be, you know, judging you or things like that, you know. As opposed to MySpace, you still get connected with people, but not quite in the same way.
Yeah, there you go.
Everybody's gonna get it except for me.
It could be your bow. Can I try?
No, it's not my bow. It's just I can't do it.
I know Kristen has experienced this. Some people like will email her and be like, "You're stupid," and call her all sorts of names, and then in person they're just kind of like
shy and they don't even want to talk to you or anything. They're like, they're a lot more confident behind a computer where they cannot see you, as opposed to in person. And they're like, oh crap, she's actually can see me, so I think I'm gonna stay away.
And fights also go on longer over like email and MySpace.
Can you try with my bow? I doubt it'll be different.
It could be your arrow.
See if you can do it with mine.
It's okay. Pull back further than that. You can pull it back to basically it's not coming off. Oh, move it a little bit more off the...
And okay, so after you get it to here, you just let go? Yeah. Oh.
I was in a dream, a little electronic dream. Meeting trackers was probably the turning point for me. I just decided, okay, I gotta get out. I gotta go do something. I gotta get in touch with my roots, because if I want to be a Navy SEAL, I can't be in here doing virtual reality training. Without my friends, without trackers, without family, without goals, I wouldn't be here. You know, I don't know where I'd be. I'd probably be under a bridge.
The less that kids are allowed to do this sort of stuff in nature, the more they're going to be searching for an outlet in more technological ways. And it's important for parents to help balance that experience for kids.
The idea that you want them to learn technology and be familiar with screens, to me, is a very small part of how we would want to prepare children for being citizens of the future. How do we help children think for themselves?
As a parent, you have to be more active a way of thinking, how can I present nature to my child? And I don't think it's so complicated. I mean, instead of eating your supper meal indoors, you can take your children out in a park and eat, and they will themselves discover things, and then they will actually start playing, because that's what nature invites you to do, to play with things and to research things.
The thing about this whole screen fast is we're the movie makers, so I could secretly be like watching TV for like 2 hours a day and just get on this little tape and be all fake and be like, oh yeah, today was so good, I didn't watch anything, and I could just do that for like a week and just lie to you and be like, yeah, I didn't do anything. But this is real, and like I don't want this thing to be cheesy or fake at all, because This is like supposed to be a documentary. It's like real life. It's not like reality TV where you can kind of sense some of the stuff's like kind of not real, I guess. But it's like a documentary. This is real life, no joke. This is what's happening in my life right now.